Hype Network presents.
On this episode of Season 4, Let's Talk.
the good thing about the good thing about my family is on my mother's side
Yeah.
they are really musically inclined. Like the brothers of my mother are almost all in a band.
Oh, wow.
Like all the boys, yeah, they're like nine in the family, and maybe five of them or six of them are all in the band, and they're all singers.
Yeah.
I'm not really a singer, but they're all singers. But the music side of things, I kind of got that from them.
On behalf of my guest here in the Rajiv Show, we would like to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Hey folks, welcome back to the Rajiv Show, and I'm your host Rajiv Doreswamy. And this show aims to help reach out to those who are currently struggling in life and to remind you that life is indeed beautiful when you're inspired to make it your own. Folks, my guest today is a legend amongst legend. I am excited to have a conversation with this person because, first of all, when I met this person in the Philippine podcast community, I said I needed to have a conversation with this guy, and luckily, I am hugely grateful and honored to have him as my guest here in the Rajiv Show. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brycan Dayao. Hey, pal, how you doing?
Hey, what's up? What's up? And thank you for having me, Mr. Rajiv.
First of all, this is the biggest honor. This is basically the most special moment of my life because I look up to you as a motivator, and I've always wanted. You're the first Philippine motivator that I've actually heard of from the Philippines, and the fact that you're in my show means a lot. It's like, wow, this is an amazing experience, and oh, this is gonna be fun. Um,
Yeah, man, the honor is mine as well, and it's my pleasure to guest on your show.
Awesome. Could you give my listeners a little bit of background about yourself?
Which part? The professional part or the passion part?
Everything, everything.
Yeah, so I am a senior manager in a BPO. I've been working the BPO for the past 14 years. So I'm handling roughly 100 people at the moment during this COVID season. So I've been doing that, I don't know, in the past 7 years, managing people. So I love leadership. I love people. And on the passion side, I am an international speaker. I am a podcaster. I am a trainer, corporate trainer, and your favorite human.
Those things are legend. You guys, I hope you guys are listening. This is a feast for your ears. Brycan Dayao, the man who can.
Yeah, I like that that catchphrase that you guys gave me, because when I was young, when I was building my brand, it was really something out there.
Yeah,
That who can, it's Bry can, right? If Bry
yeah,
can, then you can. So, like one of the guys in PPD told me that uh, I'm a natural enabler because of my name,
yeah.
and a
It's
director
true.
as well told me that I am an enabler as well. I don't even know what does that mean, but you know, um, maybe that's like my destiny or fate, like my mission in this world to be, to can, or to actually enable other people that they can.
The fact that we talk about you a lot, probably by now you'd be even a millionaire as a podcaster because your mention is almost countless in every episode that we make with the Philippine Podcast Directory. And
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm not even sure sometimes if you're making fun of me or that, but when I listen to you guys, I really appreciate that. The fact that out of what nearing, like, I don't know, more than 100 podcasters in the Philippines, and in your show there's no episode that you guys don't mention my
mention, yeah,
name, and I was like,
that's true.
yeah, True. Like I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys, and thank you for doing that. It makes my it makes my day, mostly when I go to work and when you guys have a new episode, and I was like, it's kind of refreshing because
Yeah,
even if I'm not really active at the moment in the group or in the community, you guys still remember me. So
yeah.
yeah, I appreciate that.
Much love, much love. As we have we're getting into we're getting the groove on. The first question that I'm gonna ask you is, of course, a question about the past. If you and I were high school classmates, who were you in high school? Are you the guy who is
Um,
Are you the guy who's the popular guy, the sports guy, books guy? You know, who were you in high school if you and I were in high school?
wow. High school is one of the highlights of my life because in high school my confidence was built, and not because of high school. I am comfortable in stage. I love the stage. I love the adrenaline rush that the stage is giving me every time. When I was in high school, from the very start, I was in theater, the theater arts of of my school. So not really. I can't even consider myself as a popular guy because the the feedback before when I was in high school is I'm soplado. I don't read. I'm not really that approachable, so it's really different now because
It's
yeah,
like a
because
different turn.
I'm good. Like I greet people, but not to the extent that I'm really friendly, because not because I don't want to talk to people, but I wasn't really sure if the people are okay with me. It's
Hmm,
more of like a confidence thing as well. That's why I told you in high school it was like a development of my confidence. So good thing the whole 4 years I was on theater,
hmm.
or I was in the theater arts. So yeah, that's me. Your regular classmate. You're not academic wise
Oh,
classmate, and it's more of like yeah, I'm one of those guys who sit under a tree or a bench, and
mostly at the
just playing
back.
my guitar. Not mostly at the back, but yeah, you can say that. But mostly like I mind my own business and playing my music, playing my guitar,
Oh,
and that
that
makes me happy every time.
interesting.
Every time. Yeah.
Performer. Wow, right off the bat, performer. I know what we're gonna have for the art talk segment. You just opened a door that I didn't even expect. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
man. And I was like, yeah, I was into drums before. So I used to be a
Ooh.
church drummer. And
Uh-huh.
then yeah, so that's my whole life in high school. I It's music. I mean, maybe 70% of my life in high school is music. If I'm not doing music, I'm just doing theater, and along between the lines or between those two, more of like the studies and extracurricular in school. But yeah, that's me in high school.
Additional add-on on the thing that you mentioned when you did the theater. Did you do the plays like Merchant of Venice? Did you guys have that? You mentioned that you like to be on stage a lot. Did you do that?
Yeah,
You've been on plays with the wardrobe and everything, with the powder on the face
yeah,
and everything.
yeah. It was a professional theater, not really something. It's like a version of CCP, but in Tarlac. So
Mm,
we do have like a place there called D1 and Tarlac, and it's a place where people perform. It's a
mm,
place where we perform our theater as well, or act our theater. And yeah, it's the whole thing. It's a whole package. Like on stage, sometimes it's kind of musical, sometimes it's really heavy drama.
mm.
um yeah, it's different,
But what
but
is
I actually
the
found out that I love it.
mm, what is the most popular plays that you've gone through? I mean, what's the most popular play that you still remember from high school? Like King Lear? Have you done King Lear or the?
The things that we perform were more of like original from
Ooh,
our
wow!
directors. Yeah, they're more of like film students from LaSalle, from UP.
Ooh,
So they
wow!
kind of and they're like professors in our school, or as teacher in our school at that time.
Hmm.
So the most memorable for me is at the play called Sa Likod ng Liwanag.
Uy,
So every
wow.
10 years it's being uh I don't know. It's just out there in Tarlac.
That just
Yeah.
opened a lot of door. That's like a Pandora's box that we've opened up.
Yeah, I haven't really told anyone that. And even in my guestings, I haven't really told anyone that.
And okay, I'll take that question, that conversation, and let's put that in the art talk segment. We got lots to unpack in that conversation. My next question is, of course, you mentioned you're a motivator, motivational speaker. Of course, when you, my question is, who is your greatest motivator and why? You know,
Wow. Well, just to, correct that a little bit. I am not really a motivational speaker. I don't really consider myself as a motivational speaker, but an inspirational speaker. So the difference with that is an inspirational speaker tells stories, tells I don't know, his thoughts about the things that he believes in, and a motivational speaker is more of like, I don't really know what's the definition of motivational speaker, but just for me on the safe side, I am an inspirational speaker. So if you listen to my story, if you get inspired, then that's a win for me. If not, it's a story. It was a story that you'll own, like, listen for the past 45 minutes if you hear me talk. So that's me. I actually am inspirational speaker. And who inspires me, or who do I look up to when it comes to motivational speaker or inspirational speaker in general? Top of mind, there are, just the famous speakers that we have, the famous shakers of the world at the moment that we have. So top of mind is Simon Sinek and then Gary Vaynerchuk. So those two are my greatest influencer. They're even in my introduction in my podcast, when they have like this segment, this like little clip for them. So those two are my greatest influencers. There you go. Influencers is the more of the right term. When it comes to motivator, it's more of like, it's still my dad at the end of the day, because what motivates me doing whatever I'm doing now is to make him proud. Like, that's my motivator. Yeah, the views are there, the likes are there, the traction of the attention are there, but at the end of the day, if I make my father proud about the things that I do, and then he tells everyone, he tells his friends, he tells it on social media, um that's like a great accomplishment for me. Like, I don't really, not really care, but I what matters to me is the feedback of my dad, because I don't know, maybe that's like a middle child thing, that you need to prove yourself even from before. So until now, I'm seeking validation, even though we've already moved that. I already moved on that part, but it's more of like, I think that's like an upbringing thing that I got used to, like seeking validation from my dad. So
kind of
yeah.
feels like a Michael Jordan thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've
What
seen
about?
the Last Dance. Spoiler alert
Haven't
for
I
those.
haven't
Yeah.
really. Yeah,
Uh,
I haven't really, because I was trying to make time
uh,
for the Netflix shows, but haven't really watched any Netflix from the past few months because of the responsibility that I have in the company. But yeah, tell me about it.
the story, it's the same. When, of course, I managed to get my hands to a copy of the Last Dance. The reason why Michael Jordan is the top notch, even when he was young, is that he was always challenged by his brother. He's always competitive. I think Phil Jackson mentioned this in his interview, that Michael Jordan is competitive in anything, inside the court, outside the court. We are well aware of his golfing. There were times that he was also gambling, and he was competitive in every form. Even the simple toss the coin kind of games. There are some snippets of those on YouTube, where he competes with the guys and he wants to. He's always, and the why on the cherry on that cake is because the earlier years when he was with his brother and his dad, he always wanted to impress his dad. There were times that his dad would ask him for a Philip drive screwdriver or something, and then he comes to his dad with a different tool, and then dad's always disappointed, and then he sends him back home, and that's where the fire is. He just wants that approval, and of course, as we know, Michael Jordan won six championships, and the first three, of course, the his dad was there, and but the main why of that is, of course, the same. It's like your main why. It's a similar thing, and it's kind of interesting. That's an interesting thing dynamic, and the fact that you're doing what you're doing is, I'm sure dad is tuning into all of these podcasts, not just my podcast, of course, all the other podcasts you've collaborated with, and
Yeah.
shout out to him if you want to. Yeah.
Hey, Dad. Happy 60th birthday. You're officially an old man.
And okay, my next question is, we're gonna move from the past. Of course, we spoke about high school. Now we're gonna transition into the present. And
Yeah.
the present is, the present question is, what made you who you are?
What made me who I am? I think it's the same answer like everybody's answer. Like it's the experiences that makes a person, and it's not really what they have now, or what their titles are now. It's more of
Mm,
like the experiences they've experienced in the past that makes them they are. So for me, why am I here? Why am I on this stage? Like I'm a speaker, I am a trainer, I love people and everything, because I've been I've I've experienced things that we're not really supposed to experience a normal growing up like kid on a regular basis. Nothing really bad happened, but more of like on the financial side when I was 18. And I know that this is more of like a common thing, but of course that is not like the standard of society. Like the standard of society is you go to college, you finish school, you look for a job, and you die with your job
mm,
until you get old. And some of them are like you're born in from a rich family, and then you just you be the successor of your business, and then you die with your business.
mm,
I think that's like the normal generic way, or I don't know, direction of the society for their children, or for most people. But mine was I was like I was second year college at that time,
mm,
and my dad got like a stroke, and he needed surgery. And at that time, we were really challenged with financials, with the financial side of things.
mm,
So I was my choices were like to go to the province to I don't know, to not do anything and be
mm,
bum until we recover from our financial losses, and or stay in Manila and try to work, try to make a living out of whatever at that time.
mm,
And I chose option number two. I am a person who he just tries everything, and is not really afraid on making mistakes from the very start, not really afraid on failing, not being afraid of trying new things, even if I don't even know. Like I always have this I always have this quote in my mind, or a saying in my mind, that even if something is offered to you and you don't know how are you going to do it,
mm.
just say yes and figure it out later. Richard Branson.
Yeah.
So that's always my mantra every time I have like new opportunities, new everything. I just say go and do it, and then figure it out later. That's why with the podcast as well, it was like I just figured that out. And then when I had when I already have my podcast, the podcast community was formed.
Yeah.
I also met Podcast PH during those times. We met there, and
Yeah.
then
True.
until we created a community. But when we were starting, when I was starting, there was no really community that can really support me, or that I can really ask questions, random questions. So the people who are inside the PPD community for podcasters in the Philippines, they are really lucky, because there are like a lot of people there who they can just ask questions right away, and then right away there's like answer, and there are like a lot of answers you can choose from.
Yeah.
But before, dude, when I was starting in, I don't know, May, I think May, uh none. Like I needed to study on my own.
Uh,
I needed to watch a lot of videos. I needed to produce on my own and everything. So, if I want something, if I want to try something, and my gut feel says I am scared of doing that, and
yeah.
I'm not confident doing that, that is like my passion compass. Maybe that's what how can I how I will describe it. My passion compass in figuring out things if I'm gonna do it or not. If I'm scared, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
If I'm not scared, I think, yeah, it's good to it's good to try, but not really something that it's a big of a
Yeah.
deal for me. There's no sign of growth there because I'm not scared. There's no
Uh,
sign of growth there because the chance of me failing is really small. So it's weird, but
yeah.
that's who I am from the very start.
Yeah. I mean, if it doesn't make your stomach churn, then yeah, what's the point of doing it? Which is the
True that.
uncomfortable, comfortable kind of thing. Wow, these are phenomenal conversations. Okay, another present day question.
Yep.
If today was yesterday, what would you keep and what would you let go of?
If today was yesterday, what would I keep or let go of? None. You know, everything happens for a reason. If we lose some, we gain some. I always believe in that. If we lose something, I think God has a purpose or a plan in in replacing that with something, or or removing that from your life, or along those lines. I always believe that there's like a purpose of whatever is happening to you. So no regrets every time. Even sometimes they will even sometimes they hurt, even sometimes they're painful. uh yeah, there's no regrets. I mean, none.
Wow, that's pretty
Yeah.
powerful. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff.
Thanks,
Um,
man.
Now from the present questions, let's go a little bit towards the future. This is a futuristic question. This is a
Yep.
two-part question, which is saying, and the question is, of course, what are your thoughts for your future, and of course for the future. Of course,
What are my
the
thoughts about COVID?
no, I mean for the future, because the main reason why I'm asking that is, of course, now that we've somehow embraced it. You know, the times have been moving, and a large chunk of us are still trying to make ends meet with this pandemic. We're still pushing things, and of course, lately, online classes is changing. It's revolutionizing. Education is revolutionizing. Everybody is learning at home, working at home, and everything. And you know, the future looks a little bit different. So it's a two-part question. Of course, you can answer this the future, and if you want to answer your future, like what are your thoughts for your future? Like what's the next step for the man who can, the bride can.
Well, for the future, my thoughts in the next 3 years, this is not this is not gonna be over. This is our normal, and it's still gonna be the same thing as of now, and it's just gonna be crazier. And I'm sad
Mm,
as well, that this is happening, not because of the COVID itself, but because of the relationships that are not being built on a personal level.
mm,
Well, like I told you, my message is always, in whatever you do, be human. And it is the most challenging times all over the world to be human on a video conference or on a video call.
yeah.
And it's still different that you feel the heat of that other person, that you feel that connection in person, that presence in person. And that doesn't just, the video will not cut that part out. Like, it's not just gonna it's not gonna be there. Even
Mm,
if you want it to be there, even if you try, it's not just there.
mm,
uh I think that's one of the things that I'm really sad about, because my message is always be human, and part of being human is having that connection, great connection. The challenge before this COVID was the social media part, where people stop really talking to each other on a personal level because they just see each other. They just see
Mm.
each other post anything on social media. And that was really the challenge from before. Like it wasn't really managed really well because we weren't really used to it. So we were also learning social media.
Mm.
um but the consequence of it is more of like back in the day, like in the 90s,
Mm.
or yeah, in the 90s, if you don't see each other for like how many months, even years,
Mm.
you guys are really excited catching up and everything because you are excited with the stories.
Mm.
But now the disadvantage is more of like, I know what happened to you last month, I know what happened to you yesterday, I know what happened to you last week, because you posted it on social media. And the authenticity of the word or the phrase or the question,
Mm.
how are you doing, became more difficult than ever because of what's happening. And now it's COVID. People don't really know how to communicate each other because they thought they knew how to communicate. They thought that social media chat is something that is enough. But now, like especially in COVID, suicidal rates are going up,
Mm.
depression are going up because just people doesn't really know how to converse with each other.
Mm.
People are even shy doing the video conference. People are even shy doing the video calls because they're really conscious on how they look like. They're really conscious on what or how are they going to be portrayed when that other person is seen on the other part of the video.
Yeah.
That's why I'm really it's kind of something. I'm it's funny whenever you video call someone,
Mm.
it's always their forehead that's there, not even the whole face,
Yeah.
because people are more conscious now because what we post on social media. And is that a good thing? It's a good thing to be conscious, but on a healthy, part of it. But you know we do have this video calls, but we don't really know how to talk to that person. We are really conscious on the level that we don't really need to be conscious.
Mm.
If you're nakapambahay and
Mm.
then you meet someone who's nakapambahay, that's like a really normal thing to do when you're talking to your neighbor, right?
Mm.
If you're on the street and then you meet a random friend, you're not really conscious about how you look. You're just conscious on the conversation that you will
Mm.
have on that person.
Yeah. The
But that's
moment.
not happening.
Yeah.
The moment. That's not happening. Even if we have this tool, even if we have this media, even if we have this, this easy access of everything.
Oh.
When was the last time you video called your friend? Right? When
Yeah.
was the last time you video called your friend on a level that you weren't really conscious about how you look,
Mm.
but you were actually concerned on how is that guy doing? When was that last time? So I am really sad that that's gonna happen, and I hope it's we will be adjusting at some point.
Yeah.
Uh, I hope that we will be adjusting at some point in the next few years, but I'm not seeing that happening and we adopting in the next 2 years. So that's my concern when it comes to the future. But when it comes to my future,
Mm.
my plan is to be an author. My it's always my goal. It's always there. But the
Mm.
problem is I'm not making time for it. So that's my challenge at the moment. And I always believe that what happens in the future is it's already planned in a bigger scheme of things.
Yeah.
Like this is my life. Like someone out there, like some higher being out there
Mm.
is planning it already planned my life when I got here on earth, and I believe in that. So like I always say this if they're asking me about my future and what are my plans in the next 10 years. Yes, I do have my plans, like my personal plans. I have my family, I have my kids, I have my wife.
Uh,
I i you know i i am happy with my career. I'm still speaking, I'm still training. I still I'm still paying it forward. I'm still helping other people figure out the things that they want, figure out the things that they don't want.
mm.
I'm still that guy. I know I'm confident. I'm still that gonna be, you know, that you told me a while ago that who can
Mm.
that Brycan.
Yeah.
So I'm still gonna be that guy. I'm still gonna be that guy, but I'm more of like you know what? Whatever is planned for me that I'm not aware of, surprise me. Even it's gonna be painful, even it's gonna be exciting, just surprise me because I know that I'm gonna learn from it. I know that I'm gonna be happy about it. I know that I'm gonna be sad about it. I know I'm gonna be excited about it. I know I can hurt someone because of it. I know I can spark joy in someone because of it as well. That makes me human.
Mm.
The uncertainties, and that's what I love.
Wow, that that's amazing, phenomenal. There's always, I'm always spellbound having a conversation with you, downloading information from you. That intensity that you have, that you bring, you have that energy, you have that vibe, that Brycan vibe, and you can never escape it. There's one thing that I appreciate
Thank you,
about
man.
Zing. My next question before we head into the break is, of course, I want to know a little bit of, is there a particular quote that you, aside from "be human," is there any other particular quote that you live by? Is there something that you know you have as a philosophy, as a guideline? Because everybody's got their philosophy, and we are all well known. We know that you have the "be human" as your
Yeah,
main. Do you have
tagline. Yeah.
any other philosophical words, like a simple sentence that can define you as you're building and you're developing as a human being?
Wow. Top of my head, it's not really a quote. It's not really something, but it's more of like a. I grew up in a Christian family, and part of me being a Christian kid is having those verses instilled in my head, and those are the things or the values that I live by. And there's only one thing that came to my mind when you asked me this question. I was actually thinking, okay, what's like the good answer, the best answer, or the the mind blowing answer for this question of Rajiv, and and it hit me. You know what? Just be honest with whatever, because I'm that's me. So why think about the best answer? But the verse that I'm actually thinking about now is actually Jeremiah 29:11. It's more of like for I know the plans I have for you, the plans to prosper you and not to harm you, the plans to give you hope in the future. So that's always my go-to if some shit happens to me, and that's my go-to as well when some successful or exciting thing happens to me. Like at the end of the day, it's not me. It's someone out there. It's someone higher being that was already planning, and that was already, he's the one who's actually responsible for the things that's happening. And that's the Christian side of me.
Interesting. It is interesting. It's powerful and interesting at the same time. Anyhow,
Yeah.
um, uh, this portion, we're gonna go on a short break, folks. So we're gonna come back. We're just gonna have some few messages, and we're gonna come back.
For the latest news sa pop culture at social media bardagulan, samahan niyo kami. Ako si Marga.
Ako naman si Bullet sa pinakamasayang comedy current affairs podcast sa balat ng Spotify, Apple Podcast at Google Podcasts. Mad in Manila.
Oh,
O, dalawang chismosa na lang, lalarga na!
Ay, manong kami!
Folks, welcome back to the conversation. I'm here with the legendary, the phenomenal human of all humans, the can of the inspiration and motivation, Mr. Brycan Dayao. And now we're gonna get
Wow. Thank you.
into we're gonna get into my favorite topic of the conversation, and this is, of course, the art talk segment. Basically, we're gonna talk about everything here. And just before the break, I was talking to Brycan about music, and we were talking about guitar. You mentioned in the earlier, you mentioned in high school, you said you picked up a guitar, and what's the first piece of music that you've ever played?
Everyone else's first music or first song Living on a jet plane.
Living on. Oh, for me it was
That's
more than
everyone's
words.
first song. Oh, yeah, and then more than words, and then more than words. Yeah.
More than words.
The
Yeah.
good thing about the good thing about my family is on my mother's side
Yeah.
they are really musically inclined. Like the brothers of my mother are almost all in a band.
Oh wow.
Like all the boys, yeah, they're like nine in the family, and maybe five of them or six of them are all in the band, and they're all singers.
Yeah.
I'm not really a singer, but they're all singers. But the music side of things, I kind of got that from them. So I started playing the guitar, or I started learning the guitar
Hmm.
on the hobby side of thing when I was grade two.
Hmm.
I'm not even sure how old I was. So I used to go to my grandmother's house, and then my uncle used to teach me the basic chords,
Hmm.
the D,
Open
the
chords.
G, the A. Yeah, all open chords. And until now, dude, I'm doing open chords. I'm not really doing power chords. And because I think that was like the foundation that I had when it comes to
Yeah.
music, when it comes to the guitar,
Yeah.
that I wasn't really doing the power chords. I was actually comfortable doing the the open chords, the chords that are being seen on a chart,
Yeah.
on the chart book, like the guide. I'm
Sta-
actually comfortable doing that. I'm not
Ah.
comfortable doing the shortcut, doing the power chord, to which they
Yeah.
always tell me it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm used to this.
Yeah. It's
As long
more.
as you can play the music, right? As long as you
Yeah.
can play the music.
Yeah. Uh, uh, this conversation is gonna be a jam because guitar. Of course, I'm when I started out, of course, in the last years, I also started playing acoustic guitar. As I mentioned, Modern Words was my favorite, piece of music. I mean,
Yeah.
I had, of course, my greatest university where I learned that was, of course, YouTube Learn University, yeah, because
Yeah.
they got the
True.
visuals, the visual aids, and yeah. And then I started deviating into the bass. And it's funny, you mentioned also that you played the drums. So it's kind of like we're in a groove right now. This
Yeah,
conversation,
man.
just so you know, I'm actually dancing and I'm feeling the groove because I love the vibe of this conversation. This, like I said, these are
Yeah.
the
Let's
favorite
go.
topics. And as I mentioned also in the earlier conversation, we put aside your plays. I wanted to tackle that. I want to unbox that because plays is. I also acted in a play in school, and it was a phenomenal play. And
Yeah.
you mentioned originals. Wow, that blew my mind. I'm sure the pieces that you've performed, have they been performed also in like mega stages, like mega stages in Manila?
The uh um I one of my plays, I know that it was an adaptation of a mega play.
Hmm.
It's called I'm not even sure how to pronounce it, but it's Auschwitz, the
Sounds.
German,
Oh wow.
the Auschwitz. It's actually the German time when people are being placed in, I forgot, like I forgot, like the prison camps, something
Yeah.
like that, and they tend to like burn people alive in those
Ooh.
camps.
It sounds like a
So
Renaissance kind of thing. Renaissance vibe. Mm.
yes, yeah, man, like the German era when everything was just in chaos. So that is like the premise of the play. So I'm one of those victims, or I'm one of those prisoners.
Wow.
I was with my fiance
Huh.
in the screenplay.
Yeah.
So my fiance in that story was actually raped in front of me.
Ooh.
So there was like a lot of emotions there. There was like crying, there was like
Wow.
real when you're in theater and when you're in the mood,
Yeah.
for you to actually have that emotions, you really have to have like like real
Yeah.
punches,
Yeah.
real pain for you to be in the mood. and
Mm.
and and yeah, that actually developed in me, like for me to be like a better actor at that time, during
Yeah.
that time, was you have to hurt me, I need to feel pain, I need
You
to
have
feel
to
the
be
struggle,
vulnerable.
because yeah, I need to be there, I need to
Yeah.
be there in my
Yeah.
state of mind, and the way I feel things. And then yeah, man, that's like the one of the memorable things that I did, and adaptation that we did. It's called Auschwitz. I forgot the Auschwitz, and then there's something. So I was like, I don't know, in second year or third year high school at that time.
Wait, did you
Yeah.
guys do the Austrian folk with the full 9 yards with the clothes and everything and the hat? I'm sure that with the neck and
Yes.
wow.
Yes.
I
Yes.
gotta
Yes.
ask.
Everything. Everything.
I'm sure the
Everything,
audience
man. Everything.
who are tuning this, I'm gonna ask, was it uncomfortable to wear those tights? Because I'm sure there were tights back then. They were.
Good thing I was a prisoner. Good thing I was a prisoner because I didn't really experience wearing the tights. I was a prisoner and I was just wearing, I don't know, dirty clothes and
Okay. Oh
blood.
yeah.
Like,
You
yeah,
got
because
away.
I was a prisoner. So yeah, I got away.
You
So
got away.
they're like people who were wearing those clothes. Those were the guards who were hurting me.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Yeah.
And the end of the day, oh wow, I feel hurt from hurting that guy. Probably. Uh, I love
And they're
plays.
like a lot of emotions there, man. A lot
Oh
of
yeah.
emotion. That's why until now I
Mm,
appreciate plays, even if it's musical, even if it's not, because I really know the hard work that's being put there.
yeah.
Like when back in high school, in a day we
Mm,
would do like 3 to 4 shows
yeah.
for the whole, I don't know, 16 hours or 12 hours. And we were
Wow.
kids, we
Wow.
were in high school. And then we have to memorize everything. And then, if you're the main character or you at least have a
Pressure
part,
is on.
it's every time because there's no recording. There's no like,
Yeah.
if you mess up, then the next person to you will mess up as well. So
Yeah.
you guys are responsible for each other.
It's a,
And I think
yeah.
that's where that came from. That mantra I came from for my leadership. And when I talk to
Mm,
my people, like, I always believe that to be successful is you have to help each other.
mm,
And by doing that, you have to be responsible with each other,
mm.
so that there will be no pointing fingers at the end of the day. So I think that came from, now I'm just realizing this now. I think that came from the stage play, that I need to be responsible with my part, and I need to know as well the other person's part, for if it came to a point, which it came to a point,
Mm,
if he sucked at that time,
mm,
or he mumbled at that time, or he forgot his line at that time, or he forgot the script at that
mm,
time,
mm.
then I'm there to fill in.
Yeah.
So shit happens in plays,
Yeah.
and it's not always perfect, even if you practice a million times,
Yeah.
even you practice for 6 months. No, it's not going to be perfect. There will be shit that will happen. There will be a sound system that will not,
Yeah.
that will be at fault, and there
Yeah.
will be lights that will be dimmed. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, again, it built my confidence and presence of mind. I think that's
Yeah.
the most important thing. Presence of mind.
One thing that I
Yeah.
mentioned, yeah. I mentioned I love plays. For me, looking back at the earlier years, coming from I also come from a musical family. Mom is a phenomenal soprano singer, and I think I did a
Wow.
tribute on a song that she sang, "Payapang Daigdig," which was also in one of my episodes. And my dad is a phenomenal musician, and I also spoke about him in Father's Love, an episode in previous seasons. And the one thing that I grew up watching, of course, were the first musical I think that I grew up watching was the West Side Story. The
Mm.
Puerto Rico, and I remember when I grew up here, it was around 2000, 2003 or 2000, somewhere around the timeline. My dad did a version of West Side Story in Baguio, and that was really phenomenal. I mean, of course, he got the script and the music, and he arranged it. He did the musical, and wow, it was sing. And uh, then on out from West Side Story, of course, the latest one that I was really inspired is, of course, Cats. Um, not the movie,
Cats. Yeah.
not the animated movie, the original, the one that
Yeah. Yeah.
they did the stage and everything. It was phenomenal. It looks simple from afar, but imagine how much this thing. And uh,
I think the most difficult part in a stage play,
mm,
regardless if it's regardless if it's musical or regardless if it's acting,
yeah,
it's the synchronicity of everything.
yeah, it,
That's the most difficult. That's the most difficult part. Imagine changing the background in what, 10 seconds or 20 seconds, because
yeah,
that's like the lights off.
yeah,
Because if it's more than 20 seconds, it's gonna be like there's something wrong with like with the audience or whatever. They're gonna
Yeah.
think there's something wrong.
Mm.
So imagine the synchronicity of the backstage people and then
Mm.
the actors as well, changing clothes and everything. So it plays a lot. That's the most difficult part of theater, in my
Yeah.
opinion. It's
Yeah.
not really the acting, but the synchronicity
Yeah.
of the actors and
Yeah.
the backstage people.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man.
It's
Yeah.
like a dance. If you think about it, it's like a mega
It
dance.
is.
Like
It is. It
everybody's
is. It
dancing,
is. It is.
and that's how everybody gets together and sing. And one thing that I wanted to connect from your famous line, famous tagline, "Be human," is of course I'm sure you've covered also the principles of acting, because one is especially in acting class, I remember this, that when you're creating this character, where you have this character, you have this ability of feeling the emotions of this character, and it's like entering into a mind. You know, you
Yeah.
mentioned that you were you created you were a character in and you were a character, a prisoner character, and of course the mindset, is funny. Coming to
True.
think of it, it's like the internal, it's like you starting out in the internal ways, and then of course the external, with everybody knowing the roles, and then you're doing your thing. It's like you're validating, it's somewhat something, I don't know, it's something of a spiritual connection to the person that you're emulating as a character. Even if it's a new character, I'm sure there's a lot of art. It is very one thing I love about it. I love plays is all about the art. It's it's phenomenal, and it is yeah, is looking back at all the musicals. Like, I mean, they make it look easy. If you're watching it, it's like, yeah, that
Yeah.
looks doable, but in
But
the end,
that's like
yeah.
one of my guests in my podcast is what do you call this, a drag queen. One of
Mm,
my guests is a drag queen. So she performs and mirror, artists
mm,
and people who performs.
yeah.
So one of the things that I understand with her role is it takes thousands and hundreds of hours practicing just
Mm,
for a 3 minute, 3 minute exposure or 3 minute performance.
mm,
And then it takes for her, okay, because she's a drag queen
mm,
and she prepares and she transform into a
mm,
different image. So it takes like 4 hours of preparation,
mm,
and with the travel, with all the things, with all the mind setting and everything, it takes 4 hours before the 3 minute performance.
mm,
And of course I get the I get that part, I understand that part, I feel that part. My question was, why do you still do it? And her answer, I actually I felt her answer, and her answer was, it's simple, because I love what I do. And even if as long as you love what you do, even how tiring it is,
yeah.
you will still going to do it, because love doesn't have any price, even if it's free,
Mm,
even if the performance is like really low when it comes to salary part or the payment.
mm,
It doesn't have any price if you love what you're doing, and that's the most important thing to most of people, or to like a lot of people who are wishing to have that. Because let's face it, not everyone is just blessed with with doing their passion, doing what they love, and then being paid for it.
mm,
It's not everyone. So if you have that, if you have that, be on theater, be on music,
yeah.
and then you enjoy what you're doing, and then you're being paid for it, you are one lucky dude, you are one lucky gal. So just keep on doing it, because you are blessed.
Mm. And to add on to, of course, what Mr. Brycan said, i- in our society, I just I wanted to say, passion of course plays an important role for a lot of people, and it's absolute. You have to give your 100%, or else what are you doing it for?
True.
It's for the memories. It's something that you take to your grave. It's not something that you add into your Instagram, and in few more days you'll be a passing thing, and that's the speed of social media. But in
True.
your memory, you're etching it in your memory, and you're etching the memories, and saying that's one thing I absolutely agree with Mr. Bry Can Dayao. And is a phenomenal thing when you're chasing your passion. And wow,
True.
we've just covered a lot of stuff here. We've opened the Pandora's box. This is the most amazing conversation, you know. And
You know what, Rajiv? One of the reasons why we clicked from the very first, even when you approached me, can I call you or whatever, and I was like, just yes, yeah, go, let's do it, right?
yeah,
I'm always a yes person when it comes to opportunities, and a yes person when it comes to people who wants to talk to me, because that's my message. You know, you have to talk to people and you have to have
yeah,
those conversation. And one thing, one of the reasons, or one of the, I think this is like the main reason why we clicked.
mm,
First video call
mm,
was you are authentic. You are authentic with whatever you're talking about. You are authentic with how you feel. It
yeah,
is just reflecting whenever you say something. And even with this conversation, it's actually authentic as well.
yeah.
That you really like what we're talking about. You really love what we're talking about. That's
We're
why it's
jamming.
effortless. You know? Yeah, man, it's effortless. And that's one of the biggest challenges of modern podcasters, because
Mm,
podcasting now is hype, right?
yeah,
Podcasting now is on the rise, and I get it. Everyone wants to just be on that boat, you know,
yeah,
rising with the wave. But you know what lasts is the authenticity.
mm,
If you keep on, if you're just doing it for clout, if you're just doing it because it's hype, if you're doing it because you're bored,
mm,
and you're not really doing it because you actually want to do it, you want to talk to people, you are really curious about people,
mm,
you just want to give the message out there. If you're, if you don't do it that way, then you're not gonna last.
yeah,
Even it doesn't matter if you have like 7 episodes. It doesn't matter if you have one episode.
yeah,
It doesn't matter if you have like hundreds episode. What matters is what are the values, or what is the value in every episode that you give to people. And that's always my take when it comes to podcasting, and us talking, me realizing that this is difficult for modern podcasters,
yeah,
because not all of them are authentic
mm,
in what their podcast is all about. It's really some. Here's one good thing
mm.
that's happening in PPD, not just PPD, but in the podcasting world.
Oh wait,
The the
before
pod.
you say that, I gotta say, if the PPD folks are tuning in, this is a major shout back from Brycan Dayao with love to you
Hey,
guys.
Dre and Jack, Petchai, GP, who else? Carl, Wesley, Rhea, top of mind. Oh my God. Working backs, both of them, Christian and Mike.
Richard.
Madden Manila, Richard Bautista. Wow, who else? Jelly. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jelly. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
major shout out to you guys. Now you can actually tag them.
Yeah.
Who else did I miss? Who else did I miss? Who else did I miss? I'm sorry if I miss you. Like
Otits. Otits.
I'm
GP.
Audits,
the one
yeah,
the
yeah.
one
I
with
know.
the
I
video.
mentioned. I mentioned. Yeah, I mentioned GP. I mentioned GP.
Uh,
Sorry if I miss you. Yeah, Coach Franco, and an inspiring leader X. And yeah, I already mentioned Wesley. Uh, yeah, I'm sorry if I missed you.
Everybody,
You
this
guys
is
are
a
just a lot. Yeah,
love back for all the
yeah,
mentions that you've
yeah.
given him. So yeah,
True,
you were saying.
true. Thank you for reminding me. You were. I was saying, that's what's noticing about now. It doesn't even matter if you're under a network. It doesn't really matter.
Hmm,
What uh the like the sign of podcasts that are really rising and that are lasting at some point or at this time
hmm,
is the authenticity that they give in their show,
hmm,
whatever it is. Look at Petchai, like
hmm,
she's talking about sex, and she doesn't really care about what other people will think, because that's her message,
hmm,
and she's true with her message,
hmm,
on or off the cam, on
hmm.
or off the
Yeah.
or off the mic.
Yeah.
And these people are really rare. That's why people starts to love them even in the podcast community, because they are true with whatever they believe in. They are true with whatever they're trying to deliver, especially with the message.
Yeah.
And you will see those top 10, like Alec Cuenca, right? Alec
Yeah.
Cuenca, and then other people in the podcast community.
Hmm,
They're true with what they're doing. They believe in their message.
hmm,
That's why at the end of the day, they are rising, because people believe in authenticity.
hmm,
People doesn't really believe in clout. People doesn't really believe in hype.
Mm.
but people believe in authenticity. They support authenticity,
Mm.
and I think that's like the greatest ingredient for you to last in this in this industry. As
Mm.
long as you're as long there you go. Shout out to MTG. Yeah,
Yeah.
for yeah, there you go. I remember. I think
Yeah.
along this story is I'm actually shouting out people because I don't want to feel guilty at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So Bullet and Marga.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the greatest ingredient in this community or in this industry is you have to be authentic. The more you, it's okay to mirror someone, it's okay to mirror it's okay to get inspiration from other people, but at some point you have to be authentic in what you do.
Mm.
That's like the greatest thing that you can actually do in your podcast, in your episodes. And it's not the number of episodes that you have, but it's actually the value in each episodes that you give.
Mm.
Quote of 2020. Brycan Dayao right there.
All right.
Let's go.
Awesome, awesome. Much love
I love
to
that, by the way. I
yeah.
love that. I love that. Yeah.
Much love to those who've heard your shout outs and all those who you've missed out. We're sending all the love here in this conversation. And we're jamming.
Yeah.
We're always jamming. We love jamming here. And
Yeah, I forgot the name, but the life story of, I forgot his name. But shout out to you as well. The life story of someone. I think he's also a friend of Richard, and he messaged me at some point, and he wants as well to have this conversation, and I'm up for it. I forget life events of, I forgot the name. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry.
I think
And
it's
Jess
Gerald.
Tony as well. Jess.
Uh,
Gerald there, life
Gerald.
life life story of life moments of Gerald.
Yeah, that
Hello
one.
to you, Jess Tony as well. Jap as well. That you really have a great voice. Yeah. And I know, and talk show. Shout out. And X, Kuya X, like inspiring leader X. Yeah.
It's sir.
Shout out.
It's-
Yeah, teacher MJ. Titser MJ. Titser MJ.
yeah. Basically,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of names as well.
Thank you for helping me out. Yeah, you know what? Here's a good example. Pisara Tales, right?
yeah,
Titser MJ.
yeah.
Um, well, CK. There you go, CK. Uh,
Nax podcast,
this is
GI.
not gonna stop. JI as well. JI Dax podcast. I love the podcast of JI as well. And I'm shipping JI and Carlo podcast. If that's happening, I'm supporting it. Anyway, like MJ, when he started the Pisara Tales,
Yeah.
I listened to a few of his episodes, and he believes in what he say.
Yeah.
And that's like the biggest thing. Like, if you believe in what you tell people, and even if there's only one person who tune in, even if there's only one person who will believe in you, I think that's a win. It's
Yeah.
always a win for me. If you affect one soul in your podcast, that's it.
Yeah.
For me, that's it. Yeah, we like the clout, we like the likes, we like the views, we like the chartable charts,
Yeah.
top charts, we like
But it'll
those
die.
numbers.
It'll die.
Exactly. That's just gonna be a memory. That's just gonna be a history at the end of the day. What matters is the legacy that you will leave in those episodes. So as long as you influence other people because of your episode, then man, you're doing the right thing. You're doing a great job. So yeah, keep on doing that.
There's this one powerful memory that I had. I think we had a conversation also before. This was the time when I was asking you about motivation. How do you come up with stories to tell and things? I asked you for some tips. And there's this very powerful quotation that you said that when you're talking to a crowd, with like the performance when you're talking to everybody around and everybody's watching you. And I think you pointed out, like, who do you look at in terms of conversation? Who are
Yeah.
who are you
Yeah.
looking at when you're singing? You're in stage, and very powerful, a very simple sentence that you said. If you look at one person and you're talking to that one person, if you're creating that ripple effect. You're creating that ripple effect to the people around him. If you're looking at the guy from
Yeah.
the right hand side or the left hand side, and you're
Yeah.
focusing on that guy and having conversation with that guy, it becomes a ripple effect. It becomes a wave that goes from saying from, and that's very powerful. I mean, I never expected that first from the saying, and I'm sure with your experience, it takes a lot of practice, and that's one thing that saying I've always. To be honest, I'm like the mega fan of Sir Brycan Dayao ever since I saw him, and I've liked almost. I think that when I joined the group, most of his posts, I said, "Oh man, this guy is a big guy. I gotta sing." I was actually scared. If memory serves, the first time we had a conversation was when we had a
I was
bingo.
working out.
Oh no, 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 not that was afterwards. The one that I remember was we had that bingo get to know you night where we had
Oh
Franco, we
yeah.
had Franco, we
Yeah,
had thing,
shout out to Brain Cells as well. Brain
brain
Cells,
cells. Yeah, at that
Lucilla,
time,
Aiko,
yeah,
yeah, Mousy, and Hillary. Yeah.
all of them were there, and we were all just having a laugh, and yeah, that was those were the crazy moments. And yeah, I also met Franco there, and then I still remember the first thing that
Yeah.
I said to you, because I was the one who picked your name, I think, in that roller, whatever that thing was. When is
Yeah.
the first time that
So
we're gonna
yeah.
make a podcast, baby? It was like, whoa, everybody reacted. uh,
Yeah. I remember that. That's the
yeah,
thing, man. If you don't ask people, if you don't ask, if you want something and you don't ask, it will never happen.
yeah,
The only thing that you need to do is ask. That's always my mantra as well. One of my mantras as well. If you need help, just ask for help. If you need something, just ask for it. Yes, you have to work for it,
mm,
but if there are like options, why not just ask the world and maybe someone will bless you with it, right? So when you ask me, so can I guest you on my podcast? Yeah, that was the question. That was your
yeah.
question, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. No
Well,
brainer. Let's do it. Let's
I
go.
said it much weirder than anyone else. I'm sure you never heard someone say, "Let's make a podcast, baby," huh?
Yeah. True. You said that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember the reaction of, "That's not even possible." I remember someone said that. And
True.
yeah,
True
and then
that.
I had to add you. It was actually, yeah, everything built off from that one conversation. There's one thing I love about podcasting. Although, yeah, the downside is of course the pandemic, but the good side of it is I always look at the glass half full, is where we get to meet people who we don't expect that are doing things that
Yeah.
are similar in the line, and perhaps saying. And that's one thing that I think I've been preaching that for the past few months, is like I like to build bridges. I don't care where it goes. I like to build bridges that can connect someone to someone, and my
Let's
job
do it.
is well
Yep.
done when the bridge is movable, when people can travel to it, and that's one thing, that's the one purpose. So yeah, I mean, wow, this jam was an intense jam. We've gone
Yeah, man. I appreciate it.
we've gone from history to, of course, music and stuff like that, and hopefully I hope we're gonna have some more episodes. I'm looking forward to adding you in another conversation, of course, within upcoming seasons.
Yeah.
And let's go create some mad. Let's go build another saying mansion this time, and add a lot of people in the saying. And before we
Let's
go,
do it.
I would like to ask you, if someone who's tuning in right now would love to connect with you via social media, how do they find you on social media?
At the young leader Brycan. That's my handle in across social media. From Facebook to YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. I'm trying to venture on Twitter, even if I don't know how to use Twitter. But yeah, it's always the young leader podcast with Brycan Dayao. And see you guys inside. Like, I really appreciate, even if I haven't really uploaded a new episode like for a month now, or almost a month now. Even if I haven't, there are still like play clicks that are happening every day,
Mm,
which I'm really I didn't really expect that, because I know that when you upload something, like, that's like the hype there every
yeah,
time, just every time, because people are curious about your episode and everything.
yeah,
But I'm blessed enough, and I'm thankful enough to people who, even I don't have any new uploads,
mm,
they try to visit my old episodes and try to figure out if the episode is for them or not. And I'm thankful with that. So my podcast is everywhere as well: Amazon, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. So where you get your podcast dosage every day. So yeah, add me up in those platforms.
Yeah. And to add that, this guy, I gotta say, this guy, I can't really, I gotta call him this guy. This guy, this phenomenal legend, has spoken to a lot of things. I wanted to shout out to your guest, the astronaut, the SpaceX guy. I keep forgetting his name.
Oh, Dexter.
Dexter.
Yeah,
I hope
Dexter Banyo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope Dexter is tuning in. Shout out to you. I mean, you guys had an awesome conversation. I was mind blown. That was one of the hook that got me into your episodes, and I mean, I'm hooked ever since. So yeah, I mean,
Thank you, man.
folks
Thank
who
you.
are listening and who has reached this portion of our conversation, go check out the Young Leader podcast. Go check it out. Don't
Yep.
even think about it. Just go find it Spotify, find it everywhere. YouTube. He's all over the
Yeah.
place. Just don't call him at night. He needs to sleep also. He needs his beauty rest and all that stuff.
I don't even sleep sometimes. I am even awake like at this time, and then maybe until 4 a.m. and then I'm gonna wake up at 9 a.m. It's crazy. Adulting with Joy Spring, but no, adulting is really crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah. It pays to be responsible. I'm happier that I am responsible and accountable for a lot of things at the moment.
Yeah.
But the consequence of that is you're physically tired, you're mentally tired, and sometimes it's draining. And but I love the challenge. I love the challenge. Like I said, if I'm being challenged, if I know that it's not easy, it's something that I want to do, and now it's happening. It's happening.
All right. Wow. What a lovely jam session with the legendary Brycan Dayao. I have to start using that where I'm introducing you in the next few more episodes. Brycan. I want to say thank you to Mr. Brycan Dayao. Thank you so much for answering my call and being part of the Rajiv show. And much love to you and your projects, your future projects, and of course your book. I think it's the high time you need to get to work. And
Yeah, man.
thank you so much again. Much love. Stay safe, and also for those who are tuning in, folks. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Spread the love, spread the word, spread the love. This is a phenomenal episode to share, and for everybody, stay safe. Cheers.